Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, Alexander Hilly 123 here, and it's time for Chapter 13 of my Dead Space 2 Hardcore Difficulty walkthrough. At the end of Part 12 there, I had a bit of a meltdown. That one of those cash machines has 10,000 credits in it, so just make sure you punch it, and you will get the 10,000 credits. But here is a big moment when Mr. Clark decides it's best to launch Ellie off in the shuttle. Probably one of the best cutscenes in the game. We also have a little chat with Nicole.
No, don't you dare! Don't you dare launch this ship! Isaac!
It's your best chance, Ellie. You got life support, comms. Hey, you gotta be rescued.
You bastard!
I need you to be rescued. I couldn't save Nicole, but I can save you, Ellie. So, bye.
Make it whole, motherfuckers.
Are you ready to talk now?
Why? So I can let you go too. I can't do that, Nicole. I never wanted to let you go.
A lot happened that we never wanted. Isaac. Touch me.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Isaac, please. Make us whole.
I can't. Shit, no waypoint.
Providence protects you, Clark, but it ends here. I have 200 armed security personnel. Every entrance is covered. Even if you do get in, you won't get far.
Damn. Alright, here we go. A lot of health packs here. A lot of credits too. Just a few more line racks. And there's a fight coming up where we've got to get a door open by using the hacking mechanic. And you tend to get trolled. I got trolled too. But the fight itself goes pretty damn well. I'm getting a bit nervous by this point because I realised that my last save was way back in Chapter 10, towards the beginning of Chapter 10. I've just got to grind out this whole chapter before we can make our third and final save. But yeah, this room, man, there's just so many enemies. This is pretty cool though. Catch the puke, blow that guy up in the meantime, and then once I run up the stairs, the spawns will all happen. And we've got a few lurkers, we've got a few exploders, enhanced slashers, but it's the lurkers here that give me the most trouble. I'm looking for anybody flanking to my left. As you can see, I keep looking. I've had it happen before, but maybe I've killed and taken out one of the enemies that usually does that. But I keep killing enemies and new ones just keep reappearing. There's the puker on our left now. Dodge that. He's still stasis. You don't see it used that often. But there's a grenade launcher, because that guy was pissing me off. And he still doesn't die. Watch this. Enhanced lurkers. They're a pain in the ass. So, let's collect all the loot in the area, ladies and gentlemen. And then try to open the door. I'm not 100% certain, but when you go to open this door with a hacking mechanic, sometimes there can be just one lurker, but sometimes there can be multiple. And here, typically, there are multiple. things like that that make speedrunning this game very tricky indeed. However, it is a very fun game to try and speedrun. Don't know what the world record is on Zealot and Hardcore. On YouTube, if you are keen on Dead Space and you love the games as a series, a franchise, there's a guy called Maverick Hunter. His videos are fake, and the gameplay, I don't know how he's done it exactly, but there's a lot of manipulation. There's a guy called the British Runner. He's the real world record holder at Dead Space, but the Maverick Hunter guy, he's a cheat, and his videos are not legitimate. Just so you know. So give him a thumbs down if you wish, I certainly have. Well, that door is open. And this is the closest in Dead Space 2 you get to fighting human enemies. Of course, fighting human enemies was in Dead Space 3. And quite simply, it's just not very fun. And obviously, needless to say, it's very action orientated, but if you stand in the middle of those guys, they just shoot you down and you're dead within a few seconds, obviously. So we'll just move off to the right and they won't even chase us. A pretty damn hilarious part's going to be coming up in a minute, where we can see the Ubermorph. All the Necromorphs are rushing in, running a million miles an hour, just going crazy. And the Uber is there chilling. He's just strolling in like he owns the place. Honestly, it makes me crease up laughing. We'll see it in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I was just looking at my phone there, ladies and gentlemen. Professional video content creator. But this room is really fun. The Necros are just all walking together. My god, there's tons of them. So I like to give them a few seconds and then drop the stasis bomb. Boom. And then right in the middle of them. The Puker survives, unfortunately. But there he is, dispatched. Nice. Oh, and of course there's one Swarmer left. Isn't that always the case? Wow, even that got a pause. Rage. Rage pause. I always like to punch this guy's head off. Vital to the walkthrough, ladies and gentlemen.
Isaac, where are you going? Well, that's why I'm here, Isaac. Show you the way.
Then we get our objective back. I mean, the waypoint in this game, it's good for the store and the bench and stuff like that. But needless to say, it's a very linear game. And I've spoken about this millions of times, and people who've watched my stuff will be so bored of me saying this, but guess what, motherfuckers? I'm going to say it again. Linear is indeed a dirty word these days. People criticise games for being linear, and it doesn't make sense. There are linear games, well, there used to be linear games, there used to be open world games. We used to have a decent balance between them, and we used to be able to enjoy both and differentiate between them. I know I certainly did. I prefer linear games personally, but in this last era, the Xbox One PS4 era, everything's going open. Everything's going more open. And now people are just criticising games based on linearity. Well, if that's the case, this is a shit game which should never have been made and no one should like, right? And I've already spoken about it, the indie market cannot deliver these kinds of experiences. They just can't. Even though there are some good indie games. No, this room is a motherfucker. I chase this Infector. I stop him from doing his thing. Stasis him. Instead of using the bomb straight away, I wait for another guy to come in and join the party. Then I drop the bomb. But it's the exploders that I'm most worried about. I know they're coming, so I'm going to preempt it. Brilliant. Force gun again. Coming up. Brilliantly. Let's use the contact beam. Probably shouldn't have used the force gun so much there because this guy gets close. I wasn't anticipating him to do so. And did you see him? The puker has gone to the left, but I didn't notice that he had. I didn't know whether he was alive, so he shocks me. I keep him in place, but overall that went well. But the last part, that really did startle me. The puker just sneakily moving towards the left there. That was brilliant. Cool room though. Love these futuristic type labs. Nothing really like this in Dead Space 1 or 3, to be honest with you. So we get a Slender Man here. Remember what I said before, guys? If you don't remember what I said in Chapter 9, I'll repeat it. With the Slendermen, if you can kill them without any explosive weapon, you'll get a semiconductor back. I totally don't need that semiconductor though. So we're going to take him out with a contact beam and the force gun. Without using an explosive, I guess you just have to pepper the Slender Man with plasma or pulse rifle rounds, really. See how I don't get a conductor back? Ah, we'll survive. We will survive. Wow, we've still got 6 power nodes. Let's see what we're doing here. I think I might max out the damage finally. Yeah, look at all the capacity ones really close by with the pulse rifle. So we've increased the capacity from 50, which we've had since really early in the game, to 100 there, I think. Or is it 100 to 150? Either way, that's definitely one of the best things about the pulse rifle in this game, is the capacity that you can put in it. A lot of ammo before you need to even reload the weapon. In Dead Space 1, the pulse rifle, it just doesn't feel as good. Recoil's a bit all over the place. There's no alt fire. Well, there is, but it sucks. So we got Stalkers here. One of the most straightforward Stalker sections in the game, really. See what happens. Oh, that's what happens. I decide that I'm going to stasis the guy in the back instead of the one in the front. He doesn't... And I get 2 of them. See that? I got 2 of them. That was brilliant. The Stalkers do make an appearance in Dead Space 3, but every single enemy that's amazing in Dead Space 2 reappears in Dead Space 3, only worse. Like... the pukers, for example, you can still catch the puke like this, but a lot of the pukers run at you and force you to shoot them conventionally. There's too many of them. Well, there's too many of all the enemies in Dead Space 3, obviously. There's just too much of everything in that game. It's just a clusterfuck. But you know what I realised with the 3rd game? When I watched somebody play it co-op, I realised that if you play co-op, the weapons actually work very similar as they do in the first 2 games, or mainly the 2nd game, because the enemies die just as quick. But if you play Dead Space 3 solo, especially on harder and impossible. The enemies are so tanky, and it doesn't matter what you do with the upgrades. It is infuriating and absolutely, you can't, you know, it's not defendable. Oh my god, this room. Like, the game will tell you that the line gun is really powerful, and then it'll take about 5 bullets in that gun to take care of a, you know, one ordinary slasher, and it's like, it doesn't make sense. The game's upgrade system is garbage, and the weapons that it says are powerful actually aren't. I hate that game's upgrade system. And I don't bother experimenting with the guns in the third game. I just use... what is it? I think it's a pulse rifle and force gun combo, perhaps? Something like that. And then... Seeker rifle and force gun as well. I think the force gun is with a Seeker rifle, and maybe for the first part of the game I have a plasma cutter, even though the plasma cutter is garbage in the third game. The force gun is a necessity in the third game though. You can't play the third game without a force gun in my opinion. Not at a high level anyway. Seeker rifle, well, isn't it interesting that in Dead Space 2 I don't really like the Seeker rifle? Like, I appreciate it, it's very powerful, but it's too slow, it's a one-shot thing, and if you do miss your shots, you are punished. With something fast like the pulse rifle, you're not immediately punished. With a Seeker rifle, you will be punished probably. Just not for me. Why do I use it in the third game then? Because not many things are naturally powerful in the third game, but the Seeker rifle still is. It's one of the most naturally powerful things in the game, and it can take off limbs and kill slashers in 1 or 2 hits. So when I do Dead Space 3 later in the year, which is just going to be very casual, it's not a walkthrough, you will see me use those weapons and not much else. Fuck yeah. But anyway, this room, not spoken much about it. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I always make sure I'm being careful before running, because obviously those lasers are just going to kill you immediately. So take your time. There's exploders in the middle as well. Use the force gun. Bit daunting, but not that difficult. But we've got a bit of a gauntlet coming up, and it's definitely the area in the game which I would call a gauntlet, because there are so many enemies. I don't know if it's an endless spawn. I've never tried to kill them all. It's been a long time. I remember dying at this point more than any other in Zealot. And we're going to be using a lot of stasis, and we're going to be running away from these enemies. I think during this walkthrough I've found the right balance between fighting and running. I've fought most things, but here there's just quite simply no point. We gotta run. Holy shit! A lot of loot in this room, and it's for a reason. There's a decent place to make your third save. It's relatively, well, it's a bit earlier than where I save, but considering chapter 14 and 15, they're not easy when you first play the game or when you're casual, but they're short. So that there, considering this room is insane, it's a pretty good room to make your third and final save. But everyone's stasised. I got a bit lucky there because he could have puked at me. But you've just got to stasis these motherfuckers or force gun them. There is no point in fighting here. There's way too much stuff going on. I even get lucky again here. I shoot him and he nearly pukes at me once more. A few enemies will spawn in this room if you're not quick. Thankfully I get away with it. But I'm watching my 6 to make sure no one comes up from behind. And then once we enter this door, this part is essentially done. That can be really difficult if you don't go fast. And then we get a brute. And I've got to admit, the brutes in this game... In the first game, they're really tough, but in Dead Space 2, they're not. One-timed mine just killed that motherfucker. You know, I've still never done, in the second game, a playthrough without upgrading. Maybe I should try that one day. Contact beam would for sure be needed, because it's naturally very powerful. I'm not sure what my other weapons would be. I like this part here. We look to our right and we see kind of a catwalk of Necros just strolling in. So funny. But here, ladies and gentlemen, is where we're going to make our third and final save. And I think it's the perfect place because you've got the eye poke and you've also got a Stuart and a bench in here. So maybe you want to, if you're not confident, do your upgrades after making the save. Thus, if you do die, you can make different upgrades, if that makes sense. Whereas I'm confident in what I'm doing here, so I've got 76,000 credits. I'm going to just rejig the inventory and buy quite a few nodes, I bet. I'm going to predict I'll buy 4 or 5 here. Yeah, there we go. Selling contact energy, that's when you know you play Dead Space 2 a lot, when you're selling contact energy. By this stage of the game, some of the upgrades are a bit unnecessary perhaps. Every little bit helps though, as Tesco say. Alter the force gun, the whip for the line gun there. That was a reload of the contact beam, it's a very slow reloading weapon, and the charge on the stasis. All good shit. Looking at my phone again, ladies and gentlemen, I do apologise. It's time for the eye poke, and with the eye poke machine, what you need to bear in mind is you can see Isaac's heart rate, which is obviously, you know, there's no real help to the player, but you can also see the proximity from the needle to the eye, and that is all important. It starts at like 20, and once it gets down to about 3.0, when his heart rate is going through the roof and he's shitting himself, his eyeballs moving about all over the place, what I do then is I don't look at the proximity, I just focus on the eye, and I wait until the pupil is looking around the edges. I put the needle in the middle, and once he gets to the middle, the eyeball, pupil, I jab it a little bit closer. I've been doing that for the longest time, and I haven't made a mistake yet. I'm sure everybody who knows this game well has seen what happens if you fail it. Holy shit, that's loud. But we never expected this many bodies. Holy shit. Absolutely amazing.
Isaac, you have to make us whole.
Step 4. Have to make us whole. The eye poke. Absolutely bonkers, ladies and gentlemen. This time you play the game here, you'll be like, whoa, why is he not putting his helmet back on? But here it is. The Ubermorph will spawn as soon as we finish this as well. And that's for the next video.
The machine activates the parts of our brain where the marker codes are stored. How does that threaten the marker? What are they afraid of?
Me. Us. Working together.
Step 4.
Step 4.
Yes. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
This is gonna hurt, isn't it?
I remember doing this on my first playthrough, and I most certainly had to pause the game because this is one of the most horrifying things ever in a video game, to be sure.
Cross my heart and hope to die.
A Clockwork Dead Space. So we can see the proximity there, we can also see the heart rate. And as you can see, I stop it at, what is it? 2.8. The heart rate actually goes slower again. So this is definitely the way you want to do it. I'm, at this point, not looking at the proximity, but it's 1.0. And I know this will end soon. And like I say, I'm waiting for the pupil to go in the middle. And a jab. Wait, jab. There you go. Oh. Looks painless, huh? Holy shit. Thank God that's done.
Nicole!
We still need to destroy the marker to get rid of kind of insanity, though, if you will. Whatever you want to call it.
Follow the light, Isaac. I'll be waiting for you.
Anyway, see you guys in chapter 14. A very short chapter 14.